Today, I want to teach you guys a little bit about the differences between the original devil, Diablo, and Satan. Now, I separate the devil and Satan. Some people don't. Modern Christianity tries to connect them two together, but they're completely different words with completely different meanings. Now, I went out and found the word Satan here. Satana is how it's pronounced right here in the original language. It basically means the adversary, somebody that's malicious, somebody that's doing malice. It says in the New Testament. What I want to bring up is the New Testament is written by people that killed Christians and killed Catholics. So you really have to worry about the New Testament. I know that a lot of people might preach the New Testament because it's brought a lot of holies to the world, but at the same time, you have to worry about there's parts in it that have been changed from the original. So what I want to teach, though, really quick, is Satan is the guy that's trying to manipulate you into doing evil. Now, if you look at this word here, malevolent, wish to do evil to others. Okay. This word right here that was translated to the devil inappropriately, by the way, the word is diablo, and we all know that word is different, right? The devil is different than diablo. In English, today's society, we're gonna automatically go to the idea that the devil is the evil guy in the Bible. Now, I read in the Akashaic library a book that says that the devil is the most framed person in reality. So much so that he is highly encryptic now. Now, not only that he is highly encryptic, that he is also an archangel, basically the king of hell. Now, the king of hell is not the adversary of God. Now, this is my teachings. That's what I'm teaching you. I'm trying to teach you. That's what I have learned. I have learned that the adversary of God is somebody in hell not ruling it. Somebody on earth not ruling it. Somebody outside of God and outside of God's forces not ruling it. Maybe they are the ruler of their kingdom, their domain, but they're not a ruler of our positions of power. So, right here, what I'm trying to show you, though, is when you translate this word diablos, to English, people always try and turn it to devilish, evil, slanderous, Satan. See, they're all trying to mix this one word together when you translate it to English. But what I'm trying to tell you is use your mind on what Diablo is. Now let's read. What do you think Diablo is? In my mind, Diablo would be like a leader that is torturing evil spirits. Now we'll read the verse now. Also to those on the left, depart from me. Those being cursed onto the fire eternal have been prepared for the devil and his angels of him. So those that are being cursed onto the eternal fire. So basically, you can kind of assume that they're talking, the sinners are going to go meet Diablo and his angels in hell. Now, if we go here, the context here, Satan, exclamation point, meaning they see Satan. A stumbling block you are to me, for not your thoughts are of the things of God, but the things of men. So basically he's telling somebody, Satan, exclamation point. telling them that their thoughts need to be changed. They should not be like men. That he's warning them that he's not thinking like God. And if you go on and read the context here, all right. But anyway, that's a little bit more on my theology here. I just wanted to tell you guys a little bit. When I'm reading an Akashic, Akashic is like a level of encryptology, transcriptology too. And once it's found by a certain level of intelligence, it's going to be edited and spoofed and lied about. So, I mean, you have to worry about taking it, but my every fiber of me told me that God ordained the devil to be the ruler of hell. And I'm not saying Satan, and I'm not saying diablo, so I'm just saying, to me personally, and in my mind, I'm already separating diablos from devil. Because the way I see it is, if you look at the underworld in a technological sense, it would be a harder to escape place. Now, let me explain the underworld really quick. If I dig a hole and put you in it and kill you and bury you, and your spirit is down there, and then you wake up in a spirit world, and let's say you are already chosen by an underworld lord, right? And your spirit is already in this denser place. You're underground, the underworld. You are literally under our world. Literally. It's very simple. It is going to be heavier for you to move. You are going to have less power over the universe. You're going to have less magic. You're going to have less control. And those that have lived longer and worked more and worked harder on the universe will have more power over you, because you'll have less power over the universe. Now, take that in for a second. I really need you to follow along with that theology. We're gonna write that as a root fundamental, where we're gonna move on forward into our theory crafting from there, right? Now, God is aware that people do evil. People want to do evil. All right? He banishes people from heaven specifically for this, because they want to do evil. So being banished from heaven isn't necessarily an unrighteous thing. It is unrighteous, and it's also righteous at the same time. Because you can go up to God and say, God, all these people are suffering that are being born all over the universe, and I want to go help them out. I want to go find these people that are causing suffrage, and I want to stop it. How do you stop it? Well, you can cast grace first. That's Jesus' way. On earth, this is the best thing that I've ever seen that goes is grace bondage. Grace bondage magic and spellcraft, that which feels good. That which removes darkness's roots on earth and builds grace and peace and love. But for those that are constantly not doing that, there are underworlds. There are heavier, denser places farther away places as well. Now, the underworlds are a similar word for that that's in the Bible is called tombs. The tombs are a spiritual place where your spirit lives. And the tombs are famed to be man-made. They're basically matrices. It's similar to locking up spirits and putting them into jails for their soul. And when they enter these places, God typically frees them when they stop sinning. And once that happens, it's similar to Mark 1, where you are no longer able to be shackled. You're no longer able to be brought into their underworld. And this is a thing that's used in conglomerational warfare. Conglomerations use basically multiple lines of defense and redundancies to make sure that nobody could, overcapitalize on them and cause them to, lose the entire string of their command and, their capitalization on Earth, right? But we're going to keep this plain and simple. We're going to keep this to the Bible and to God and to God's hierarchy. There are so many underworld rulers. What I'm trying to say is it's these underworld rulers, each and every single conglomeration is right there inside of God's kingdom because you're inside of God's kingdom. God's kingdom isn't just heaven. It's all the stars in earth as well. And it's also, there's a devil's advocate to this. There are places that look like earth that are not inside God's kingdom. Now that's to my beliefs. That's my philosophy. Not everybody believes in that. But I do. I personally do, because I believe that there's infinite micro matter and infinite micro positions. You could be in an infinitely small, super unlikely, entangled 99.9 repeating percent similar, clone of the universe that's smaller or bigger, expanded, or more massive and less massive than the human equilibrium. The human equilibrium is said to be 6 atomic density, which is the atomic density of carbon. And it's also said to be carbon 13, which is a completely different, equilibrium. I tried to say in the human livable space, what's the average molecule? I looked that up. It's super hard to find. You would need to get into like some God scale art. This has to do with, X out of infinity logic. X out of infinity logic means that you can just never really be true. You can only just throw rocks, into the pond and guess where it landed, and even then you wouldn't. That's more logical, like in the real universe, you don't look at somebody and go like, oh, they're on drugs. You don't look at somebody smoking a cigarette and go, oh, that's drugs. What you do is a cop goes over to them and takes their cigarette and puts it into a testing device that's a physical matter that touches the physical matter. And yes, you might say in here, particles never touch. No, actually, theoretical particles never touch. Particles touch all the time. Theoretical particles don't, because they have electromagnetic auras. The electromagnetic auras touch and the gravitons touch. The pieces of the mass touch. But the theory particle, the quantum bits don't touch, because they collide into each other because they have vacuum, and they become each other sometimes. They'll be in quantum superposition, right? And then they'll exit quantum superposition. They'll be in temporary states of quantum superposition. So, knowing all of this, understanding gravitons is super important, because gravitons is an infinite field of research alone. So is mass in itself. So, understanding that this is how it goes, we're talking about actualized physical mass too. So like lords, and you can believe whatever you want. You can, live your normal life as much as you want. But I'm over here, I'm reading LiDAR in Akashaic records. I'm reading as much as I possibly can get on my hands on. And I can read in the Akashic records faster than in real life. I can learn things, and I'm so verified. I'm so verified. I was just listening to a song today, just a little bit ago. This song right here, which is written, this song right here, written, oh crap, I didn't mean to play that. I'm going to get copyrighted. Anyway, this song right here is written in French. And I listened to it a few times, and I put myself into bramble mode where I'm automatically, based off the feelings of the waves of the universe, I'm automatically understanding her lyrics, her meaning, the meaning of her song. And I knew in the middle, I was like, oh, she's talking about love. And I turned on translation mode, and she says love, love, love 3 times right at that spot. And I was like, all right. I actually shouted with joy. I was like, woo! Out here, I'm in a park. I just screamed like a crazy person because I was so excited that my brain is automatically configured with God, and with the Akashic, with truth, with the Holy Grail, with the Holy Spirit. I'm so entangled in the web of Holy Spirit that my Holy Spirit activated, Holy Spirit activate. But anyway, my Holy Spirit activated, and I shouted with joy just because of that small little thing that I was able to know that the song was about love. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a beautiful day. OMG Bomber out.